I wish to begin with a poem that I wrote in February 2004 after a close friend of mine came to me for help after she was sedated and violently raped after a late night ending of her shift at a bar where she worked. It was the bar manager who did it, though this was never proven in court. The man who did this walks free. I hope his spiritual awakening allows him to reconcile himself with what he has done. We have all done bad things and we must forgive now, moving forward. I want to read this poem out that I wrote 5 years ago to show how easy it is to fall into feelings of rage, of retribution, of revenge. We are, after all, human, and when we see terrible things happen to those we love, we yearn for justice. 10th of February 2004, dark February. Little sister now, but this I thought before. You wouldn't tell me why tears welled the lower lids, but on a sofa you broke down and told me. The rage is a pillaged village. The rage is hate, and the battalions storm hell to tear, kill, rip, and annihilate. I love you, little sister. Pale skin now peppered. You don't remember how this monster came to cover you in darkest bruises. I'll hang him upside down, slit his throat, laughing, revenging, restoring, just a little order, little sister. Then you told me what you wanted to deny, what anyone would want to deny. I sat trembling, dumbly held your hand and watched you cry. The doctor said it's true, this thing you thought he'd done to you was done. The ticking slowed in time to my pupils, widening with my sorrow. I wish it wasn't true today, but it will only fade tomorrow. Men have gone to war over smaller matters, tearing through battlefields with one small thought. With you, my world has been moved a little out of touch, and I remember the father that shot the man dead, who'd plucked petals out from his daughter's head. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not speak to all the people who are already awoken from the mass hypnosis of our program culture. I speak to the great number of people who still slumber on, feeling that something is not quite right. Perhaps you are angry. Perhaps you feel that you've been dealt a bad hand in this game called life. I'm here to tell you that you've been dealt an amazing hand. Why? Because you are alive and listening to this message which comes to you from the one great consciousness called reality. We are faced around the world with a situation so subtle, so all-pervasive, and so monstrous that to even talk about it is difficult, because it is hard to pin down. I will try to be concise then, so that we do not waste time. Like yourself, I was born into bondage on planet Earth. I was numbered and registered upon my birth, and put into the schooling system so that my mind and soul could be programmed to serve the society into which I was raised. Like yourself, I was not born into an indigenous tribe of free men or women, nor was I trained spiritually to understand the issues at stake. I never had a rite of passage, nor an initiation ceremony, except being told that I was powerless and that I could serve the system by studying the writings of others who came before in order to get a good job and attain the material comforts that our society gives to those who serve the system well. Like you, I was angry, sometimes depressed, and horrified at the things fed to me by the newspapers and television. Like many of you, I felt that human nature was sometimes violent, and that without order, we would collapse into a series of murderers and rapists because that, as we are told, is inherent to our nature. My dear brothers and sisters, human nature has been hijacked. We have allowed this to happen. Human beings do not wish to harm one another. We want to live in peace and look into each other's eyes and whisper that we recognize the sanctity and dignity of the individual and of the greater oneness. We are scared shells of what we could be, of what we once were. We have allowed the overall culture operating system to harness our energy, and we have built great things. We have built cities and works of art. We have a million forms of music to vibrate the soul, but we have also built the chains of our enslavement around the world and bought the great lie that humans are nasty, brutish, and savage creatures. Nothing could be further from the truth. We are sacred and divine spirits in a three-dimensional body, and we are under the influence of good and bad forces. Every single time we say we are only doing our jobs when faced with a dilemma that takes us away from doing what is right, we allow the system demons to control us. My name is Charlie Veach, and I am a revolutionary. This is an awkward label because the word revolution carries the baggage of history with it, but I feel it is apt because I wish for a revolution, or better, an evolution of humanity, so that we can remember our power and not succumb to the controllers who run this world for their gain and not for ours. A lot of you will know who I am because I have spent the whole summer and autumn of 2009 trying to inspire you and remind you of how amazing you are. I am doing what I know to be right, and as such there are forces protecting me as I play out my destiny. This is why I am not dead and why I am not in jail. I have called for armed revolution many times in my journey of spiritual awakening, and I humbly thank my close friends and the people who love me for guiding me in the right direction. I no longer call for armed revolution because, rather embarrassingly, I now see that I was wrong to do this.